Can you guys hear me? Yes. Okay, great. Oh, isn't yeah, thanks.
Better? Yeah, great. Okay, so I think that we can go ahead and share thoughts. So let's go from the top this time down. So Alex, go ahead and start, and then you guys turn it over to each other. Okay?
Sorry, guys, can you hear me? Okay, so, uh, first about the first video, the explanation of passive heating. As Jay mentioned, I think that's crucial because it it's like a measure that has no downsides, right? So if you are able to construct your home and alter your construction in a way that reduces energy waste, but still like your lifestyle is the same, you still get the same heating cooling. I don't see why it's not being more advertised and why there's not much more awareness being brought it here to the western side. I mean, I know there's like where I come from, a lot of people do it. Like where I grew up in Ukraine, a lot of people do it, and in Europe, it's becoming more and more popular simply because of stricter rules, and it's much more expensive. But I mean, I don't. I think it should be everywhere, adopted everywhere. It's just less energy waste, it's the same result. You guys hear me? Oh, okay, that's not me. Okay, and then the second video was the most interesting because the guy talks about how he want to get away from like all the being part of like the reason for the problem, meaning being consumer that causes the animals to be mistreated and all the land being taken out. What astounded me were the pictures he showed, like the pictures where all the land was just decimated and it was just and factories were filled with animals and they were literally treated just like parts. They were just parts caged, no emotion given to them. You just wait for them to give birth. You take the and then you cut them up for food. And I think that's a completely wrong way of doing it. And there are alternatives. It's just they're not economically favorable to corporations, and the corporations don't really care about anything else as long as we're within the legal boundaries. As a side note, I'm like into drones and I build stuff and like in the agribusiness. And I recently saw a Kickstarter project where a guy took a UAV, a little drone with a camera, and he documented like the feces pools where they dump all the pig manure and the acid and how he it's just horrible. And the ones that are especially uh, harmed are the neighboring communities because what happens is once those fill up, first off, they're extremely toxic. They're just thousands of pigs and then they're toxic manure and its pee is all put into this one place, and then they spray it. And the reason they spray is because it becomes full. So there's like a lagoon and it overflows. So what they do, and it's just been documented well, is they literally spray it in the air in a very fine mist until the air takes that toxicity away in order to empty the pools. And the communities like the schools and where people live, the houses, they're moving out because they're getting harmed. There's toxic feces just flying in the air, which is horrible, and I never knew about that before. And uh, so going back, that's why this guy went into this mission. He started growing his own food, and there's also benefits. So like he works, but it's not only because he wants to not harm the planet. It's benefiting him as well. It's benefiting the community. Uh, the food is fresher and it's way healthier. And as he mentioned, you can't really find nutritional value anywhere, like in any, even Whole Foods market, no market like that, simply because even if it's refrigerated, by the time it gets to you, the nutrients are lost. So the only way to get the best quality food is to grow yourself. So he's fit, he's healthy, and he's happy because he's not being part of the problem. And that's what really stood out to me. And I can kind of relate to that because, I mean, when I grew up, we had like a backyard, but a small house, and we like grew our own peaches and stuff. And those are like the most delicious stuff. Like you couldn't compare those to the supermarket ones, which was, brings back good memories. But that's about it. Thank you.
Okay, can you hear me? Maybe. Okay, good. Okay, so the first video about the passive house, I found that very interesting. I learned a little bit about that. Not like my house is pretty environmentally friendly as far as like insulation and all of that because we bought the house and then we fixed it up. And so when we did that, we tried to make it as sealed as possible. But being in Texas where it's 100 degrees and it's not perfectly sealed, we still have to have our air conditioner and everything. But it was a really interesting video, and it's crazy that you can do that in any climate. And then the second video I thought was really interesting. Those like bird's eye pictures were very cool to look at. Also scary, but and I thought that it was really cool that he could grow rice paddies. I thought that that was a very specific, you had to have like just the right conditions to do that. And he kind of proved me wrong on that. It's very interesting. And I like the way that he had it all organized so that the community was a part of it as well. And then in the last video, I think that one was my favorite because my parents are always trying to get us to move into the city more because it's closer to my school and it would mean less driving. But I have 4 horses and 4 dogs and cats and ducks and all of that. And so I always say like, oh, I don't want to leave because we'll have to put them on a smaller lot and that's not fair. And while that's true, he showed that, you can do it and you can have a sustainable life even on a small lot. And what we have, like at my house now, we have a garden where we get like all of our salad stuff and we make salsa from the garden, and it doesn't have a lot of the stuff that we can use in like regular meals, I guess. Like we have like onions and things like that, but I don't know. I think we need to include more like squash and things like that. And then we also have our chickens and we get eggs daily, and then we don't mow our grass because the horses do it. So that kind of helps. So that made me think of that, and I got ideas for things that we can put in our garden and edible flowers and all of that. I thought it was really interesting. And that's it.
Yeah, can you hear me? Is it working? I really like the 3 videos. The passive house one, I actually did a summer course last year about that, or a little bit related to that. And it's really amazing what you can do with these. I mean, it was only 90 seconds, but like in the class, they showed a video of this whole building, a business building, which was completely passive housing, and like the lights were all adjustable, and I thought it's really like futuristic and really amazing, like what we can accomplish just by thinking about appropriate engineering. And we really don't need all these things like air conditioning and heating. I mean, like my house and most Brazilians' houses, we just like built our city without any infrastructure, so houses are just facing like wherever, and we usually don't get sun. So my house in the summer is really, really hot, or in the winter it's really, really cold, and because we didn't think about it properly. So I guess like this information is really cool. The second video, Ben Falk's video, it was really amazing. It's really amazing what you can do with a plot of land. And I thought he was absolutely inspiring, just to like want to move away from everything and start producing. Like, instead of contributing to the destruction that is going on with big corporations, he wanted to like get away from that and help the world. And it's really amazing to see how happy he is and how accomplished he is because of it, because of this decision, and how communities around us, around him, would like to go there and see it. Like the college kids, instead of just studying, they want to go off and help cut wood, and that was really cool. And the third video, the homegrown garden. Wow, I had no idea you can grow so much food in like that sized land, like in an urban land, and that is really amazing. I mean, grass is really useless if you come to think about it. And yeah, that was really inspiring. I had never thought about that. It kind of comes to show that you don't need to like move away from everything and from our modern life, that you can actually just build a sustainable place where you live and in urban spiral. And that was really, really cool.
Can you hear me? Yeah? Okay. The first video on the passive housing, I thought that was really interesting. I didn't know you could actually build a house that would require like 90% less energy, and it just seems really efficient. I would actually like to see that kind of like to see the house. The second video was really cool because, well, the thing I found most interesting was that he managed to grow rice. Like, I thought that was just in Asia where you could grow rice, but he managed to grow rice, and then the ducks were playing in the rice paddies, and then it took care of most. He said like the ducks would eat everything but the rice. I thought that was so amazing. Like, if you just left nature by itself, it could do so many amazing things. And I love the third video because I didn't know you could grow that kind of farm in like an urban neighborhood and in such a small space. That was really, really cool. And when I watched that, I really wanted to make my own garden, but then I realized I live in an apartment. We don't have a backyard, and I think my parents would kill me if I turned my bedroom into a garden. So but I do want to do that, so I think I'll try to figure something out. So yeah.
All right, can you hear me? All right, for the video on the passive heating, I thought it was really interesting, the engineering that went into keeping the energy in your house or regulated, and that since energy practically equates to money, it'll save you money over time, and just those little adjustments will save you so much. For the second video, I thought all the variety of the crops he had produced in his yard was amazing, and the amount you just saw basket after basket after basket, and he'd store them for in the ground for what is it, like a year, he said. So I thought that was pretty cool, and the relationship between the ducks and the rice paddies was interesting too. And for the last video, I thought the amount he grew in a tenth of an acre was amazing. He said he grew 6,000 pounds of vegetables a year in a tenth of an acre, which that's an incredible amount. The ratio between acreage and the amount of vegetables you grow is pretty amazing. That's all I have to say.
All right, can you guys hear me? Yeah. All right. For the first video, I didn't know about passive housing, and that was really impressive. how you can make something so efficient like that. And I wish it was more known and more widely used in the United States and all over the globe. And I feel it's like something we need to, well, use more. And then for the second video, I found it really funny because that guy was just like us. Like he was taking the course and he wanted to get up and do something. And during the course, and I find that like in every conversation we always talk about, oh man, the reading really makes me want to go do something right now. It just reminded me so much of us in this classroom together. And it's just really inspiring what just a thought can do. Just like thinking, oh, I want to make a change. He he grows basket after basket after basket of fruits and vegetable a year, and it's really inspiring to see someone with a similar story. And then for the third video, well, the guy lives 40 minutes away from me, so I can probably go see that garden, would be really cool. Just driving by a house that's all green. And I live in an apartment, so similar to Chloe, I can't make my room into a garden, sadly. But I'm gonna see if I can implement something like a garden outside in the little area. There's a little area in my apartment building where there's nothing really. It's just an empty square. I'm gonna see if I can put a garden there. But yeah, I'm really inspired by these people, and that's all I have to say.
All right. Can everyone hear me? All right. So I enjoyed the Passive House video. I thought it was really interesting how by making a few. Can anyone hear me? No. Sorry. Anyway, yeah. So the Passive House video. Found it interesting how I'm making a few minor changes. Oh, sorry.
You all right there? What's going on?
Thing I skipped someone by accident. Sorry.
Oh, I see. Christopher is our moderator. He's like, ah, the one man doing it all. Thank you. I think you can keep going. I think Christabel will be kind to you. There will be no wrath. So,
All right, thanks, Christabel. Yes, so I found it interesting how by making a few minor changes, like proper insulation and proper windows and preventing heat leakage, you can reduce the amount of energy you use. I think I'm surprised more people aren't doing that, because we could save a lot of energy, and that's a real shame. And the second and third videos were also really, really inspiring. I've always kind of wanted to, start my own garden, but I've never actually gotten through with it. But I mean, if someone can, if someone in an urban setting can do it and pull it off, I guess I can too. So yeah, that's all I've got to say. Sorry, Christabel.
can anybody hear Christabel? No. Yeah. You know what that means? Yep. So we still can't hear Crystal, right?
Yes.
Oh, there you are. Keep going.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Okay. So I already knew a lot about passive houses because my parents used to work in a company which deals with this kind of house. So yeah, isolation is really important, and there is also something useful we can add. It's called, I think, the province well in English, and the idea is to take air from the ground with a kind of air well, and because in the ground the temperature is quite the same everywhere. I think it's 18 Celsius degrees about. So for you guys, should be like 60 or 70 Fahrenheit degrees. And so that in winter when your house is cold you can warm it, and in summer you can cool it with the natural ground temperature. So there are plenty of ways to make passive houses. And then about the second video, it was amazing to so we have seen in Earth in Mind that knowledge about the land are being lost, but we can learn them again. And it's great to see that the impact that one family can have in their land. And for the last video, yeah, so we've seen yesterday that living in small communities is great, but we also have awesome cities, and we can't just leave them like this. So this family of homegrown revolution shows that we can actually slowly transform our towns to save them. And as how we will feed the world this century is a great issue. It's interesting to know that we really can produce our food in our backyard. So yeah, that's all I have to say.
Okay, can you hear me? I think for the first video, I could not imagine the passive house without heating and air conditioning before. But after watching the video, I find it's really amazing to have such houses which not only save 90% energy but also save lots of money. And the second one, what I watched is a slightly different one, but I think the main idea is the same. The second video tells about a man farming in an isolated and self-efficient system. And what impressed me most is that he cared for all the vegetables he planted, and he can name all of them. It seems the vegetables are kind of like his children or something. And I think it's amazing that he can tell what kind of food by just smelling it. And he thinks it's the basic connection of awareness and the understanding of the nature of this. And he also mentioned he also thinks that the passing of time should be good things, and because it makes us understand what we have achieved during the past of time. And about the third one, I think it's really amazing to instead of moving outside the city, it provides an alternative way for us to carry on an ecological life in the urban area. And I think it's amazing to plant so much vegetables, and not only to eat for the family, but also you can sell it to the local restaurants. And I think it's a good way to carry on an ecological life. And that's all.
It's my turn now, right? Can you guys hear me? Yes?
Yes.
Alright. About the first video, I don't say that because my father was an engineer, so I used to go to many this kind of places, and I saw many houses that use some really modern energies like solar energy, wind, and when I saw this house, I found this with a really high efficiency, and if we can really achieve it, that would be a great help for the whole environment, and this kind of technology thing. So just about the second one, and I realized that there are a lot of knowledge in doing the farmings. um to the most simple thing, I think, I can't recognize if it is a carrot or not by just looking at the leaves, and there are many knowledge about how to burn some the oils, and I feel all the people and with their gardens and their vegetable and fruits, they're in the system, and they feel not only the sense of achievement when they got their bonus, but they had to pay a lot. They had to wait for a long time for their goods, for an apple, for example, then to wait for months, and that is determination and energy. And I used to think that just to grow the vegetables is really easy. You may just put the seeds in soil, and you water them, give them sunlight, fertilize, and then it grows. But things are much more difficult. And the third one, the guy who grow many things in the garden, they got many other impacts. They encouraged the students in school, their neighbors, and the restaurants, just like Lily said. And I just feel like their work is not only like a farm, but also like artwork. They grow a variety of vegetables and fruits, and it is really colorful, and it is also beautiful. Although they will have many mosquitoes in summer, but never mind. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
So, thank you. So, yeah, let's have those three people in order. Let's see, Saad. So, were you like yeah, you were the next one. Okay, so we're just gonna read Saad's. We're gonna take a moment to read what he has to say. Okay. Thank you, Saad. Yes. So let's then keep going. Christopher, so I was thinking, so you're going to be out of a job after today. So I was thinking that we'll find you a new job. We'll think what the most optimum one is once we all get here. And so don't worry. You'll be doing something useful for us, I promise. And hopefully something you'll enjoy too. So go ahead, Monica.
Okay, can you hear me now? Everything good? Yes? Okay. So for the first video, I thought it really connected to me because Chicago is notorious for its rather bipolar weather, I guess you could call it, where we range from like -30 below zero in the winter to like 100 something with 80% humidity in the summer. So we always have a lot of like issues with heating and cooling our houses and whatnot. And so I think that if like we implemented some of those things that the Passive House talked about into our homes, that it would save us a lot of money, and we'd be able to live much more comfortably and not be covered in blankets like I am right now. And for the second video, I was really surprised at like the stark contrast between the farm right next to the suburbs. And actually, we have around me, we have like 2 farms in the middle of the suburbs, just kind of chilling. They grow their own food. I think they're gonna sell it though, which is kind of sad. And so like I see that in my own neighborhood, and I also found the rice paddy thing very interesting. And he said that for us to get the same nutrients that our grandparents did in one apple, we have to eat 40. And I thought that was amazing and really showed how much our topsoil is like gone pretty much, which is really bad. And I also thought that it was nice that he kind of like stumbled into this. So we can do that too. And then for the third video, I have some differing opinions on GMOs, but that's okay. And like my trainer for horseback riding also has a pretty big garden in her backyard, and so I know from like personal experience of eating dinner at her house that that's like the best food ever. So I really like that as well, and like it shows that it can be done if you really try. You can grow your food anywhere.
Can you hear me? So the video about the passive house sort of got me thinking about how nice it would be to have a house that was perfectly heated, perfectly cool in the summer, didn't require electricity, because right now I'm upstairs. And upstairs my air conditioning system is broken. So it can be a little bit hard to sleep when considering it's summer. And it's always humid outside, it just rains, so opening the windows doesn't help it at all. It's almost as hot inside as it is outside. So it would be nice to have a passive house that didn't require all those complicated air conditioning systems to keep it cool, keep it warm, because it often gets very sweltering up here during the summer when the air conditioning sometimes breaks. The third video about the tenth of an acre farm in their house was thought incredibly impressive, especially considering how close it was to the city. I have on my house about 20 times more land than them, and the only edible things I grow are rosemary and mint, which is probably more than most Americans, but still definitely not anything compared to what they have. It's very impressive. Should probably grow more things in my yard.
Christopher, so yes, a new job. So we need to collectively decide what job to give you. So we'll do that once you guys arrive, and then we'll look at our landscape and our issues, and then we'll see how you can save the day for us, okay? When we all get here. So you might be promoted. That's definitely an option. I like how you think. It seems like you'll do well in life. So, all right. Uh, who's next? Okay, that's right, because he skipped over. So, so we have 7 more minutes. And so do you guys want to do you guys want to quickly just say a few words about the eco villages slash farms that or institutes, ecological institutes that you've got in your area? So let's get that shared. So let's start again from the top and quickly go down.
Oh, is it my turn?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes. Those
there are a
stuff.
few areas in more or less eco villages in the Los Angeles area, but what I found where I did most of my research was how individual people were first like becoming more self-sustainable, and then how people
Mhm.
followed them. So I found a very interesting video on YouTube. Yeah, I'll link it below, and it basically goes through like a life of a family that has a very small lot, and how they've like made modifications to their machinery, and how they bake good from the sun, and and then by doing all these modifications they're able to live by themselves and become almost self-sufficient. But what the key takeaway from that video was they don't believe in isolation, because they think that there should still be like, you can't be isolated sufficient. You still have to get some things from others, and there should be some level of specialization, because then you can make goods more efficiently. But they should still be locally in your area, because then there isn't like the transportation cost and time waste and all the other waste. So I found the video.
Yeah, put it on. Yeah,
It's
thank
this.
you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. The closest eco village I found is about an hour and a half away from me, from where I live, and it's in Campbell, Texas, and it's a full eco village, and basically it's people who, like their number one complaint is living in the Barnett Shale, because it makes the food supply so unhealthy. So they do it themselves, and it's kind of out of the way from everything else, and it's out of the oil drilling area, so it's very healthy.
Well, I was really surprised to find quite a few eco villages here in Brazil. There's actually one like only a few hours from São Paulo, which is one of the biggest cities in the world. And it's really cool. Their proposal is like living sustainably, and the houses, when you look at the houses, they're actually quite modern, like bigger than most houses. Oh God. And then the one I really found was cool was one in Rio, I think, which focuses only on like sports. So everything like skateboarding, trekking, mountain climbing. You do everything in this village, and that's their proposal. And it seems really cool. I'll send the link of the pictures below.
Thank you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So Singapore is really small. There's no eco villages right now, but I know they have plans to develop something they're calling an eco town. So it's like massive. It's like apartment buildings, but they have everything. They've made it sustainable, and They're calling it a biodiversity pond. But everything is still in the planning process. So maybe in a few years we could see something.
Can you hear me? Hear me?
Uh-huh.
All right. So the closest eco village to me I found was actually in North Carolina, in Asheville, North Carolina. It's called Earth Haven Eco Village, and they live off farming. They get their energy from solar power and their water from streams. And then there's another developing eco village that's about to be started up in Greenville, South Carolina, which will be even closer.
Can you guys hear me? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So I found because I knew Alex was gonna do Los Angeles as well. I did a little bit more general area of California, and I found 3 eco villages. One in Pacific Beach, one on Valley Center, and the other one is in County. Mendocino County. And these are just places where you can visit, and like it's just like these very like these communities of people just working together to live like have a sustainable style of living. And then there's also this like neighborhood in California, like in Los Angeles, which is pretty cool. It's like a group of 40 people. It's a small community that are like working together to live sustainably. And it's a neighborhood. It's a neighborhood within the city, and it's just really cool to see that happening.
Can you hear me? Okay. So I looked around where I live in France, and I found an eco village, maybe 30 minutes driving from where I am. And so that's a little community of 163 inhabitants. The village is located in one of the most beautiful places in the region, so with an amazing view. And currently, it's different from what we've seen in Russia. They live in old brick houses because they were already built. But if more inhabitants come, they will have to build new ones with wood. And they live of local organic farming production.
Okay. I was able to find 2 eco villages near me, one in Virginia and one in Maryland. They both share 3 main focuses, basically. The first focus is organic farming, so they're producing healthy food for the surrounding community. I think their second focus was community. Each eco village has all of the residents living nearby, and there's a focus on community. They also bring in interns and interested students, and their third objective is reforestation. They're trying to bring back biological diversity to the regions. And that's it.
Can you hear me? Okay, I did research and I found that there are several eco villages in my hometown, and they're along the border of the city, so it takes maybe 30 minutes drive to get to it. And these villages carry on sustainable farming and fishing, and also attract many eco tourists to them, and so that the tourists can enjoy the fresh vegetable, milk, and even eggs when they go to such places. But I think these villages are not so much like what we saw yesterday, because they focus on tourism, and so they may get some profit from tourism, and it's not. I don't think it's the same as what we saw yesterday. That's it.
And I searched on the internet about this kind of situations. Can you guys hear me? Right?
Yes, it's
You
okay.
can?
Keep
Okay,
going.
okay. I'm sorry. So somebody.
Keep going.
All right. I didn't know what. Okay. And I found that there's actually tens of this kind of styles there, but I classified them to be 2 sorts of. The first one is that they spend a lot of money. I calculated an average about I may have a count 300,000 yuan, which means about let me do the calculation, about $20,000 to build such kind of house. And one of them used 6 containers, to do the transportation containers and to build a house. And it just occupied a really little space, but he spent a lot of money and grow many vegetables and fruits for mostly decoration. And I think people like him are really somehow affected. They're not really contributing to the environment or doing something. And the other kind, there are several mountains in Beijing, so many people just chose to live in mountains. They just bring some seeds and enough food until the system can operate itself. And most of this place are a little bit far from my house, but if I could, I mean, go to have a trip there. Yeah.
So let's take a moment to read Saad's post. All right, go ahead, guys. So Monica, you posted, yeah.
I just posted 2 links. One of them actually is just like a map of a bunch of eco villages in the United States. But I was surprised to find that there are no actual like established eco villages in Illinois. There's one like super far down south that is like under construction. And there's one that they want to build in the Bronzeville neighborhood, like in the middle of the city. And there's also, the first link is to this thing called The Plant, which would be like a self-sustaining, like, there'd be like a brewery there and a bakery, and like make their own electricity, and there's like a fishery in the basement. So I thought that was really interesting. But I was just surprised to find out that like even in the neighboring states, there isn't really much going on in terms of eco villages. I guess I kind of understand that, because once you get out of like the Chicagoland area, you're in a perpetual cornfield. So it's kind of like, I think most of the land right now is already being developed and growing like a lot of the food for America.
All right, I have some links here. The first one, so basically the eco village I found was 30 minutes away from my house. It was in Loudoun County. I live right next to Loudoun County. Loudoun County is one of the richest counties in the United States, and they have their own website. It's called ecovillages.com, which they probably paid a little bit of money for that. That's a very easy, accessible website title. The second link I posted was basically they made a map of the entire area, and it's pretty cool looking. I thought that it was nice that eco villages are something that span from one of the richest places in the world to everywhere in Russia, where it's not exactly quite as rich. It's something that is growing and has taken hold in many places around the world, regardless of economic status. I thought that was pretty cool.
Great. So did we get everybody? Yeah? Yeah. Okay, great. So that's that, huh? Isn't that quick? That just flew by, it feels. So smooth travels to all of you. Smooth, easy, safe travels. Don't worry, be happy. All is well. Just email me if, you know, you didn't have time to locate it on a map and you're late or whatever. Just email me. You guys are going to be living in the same dorm, is that right? So you'll meet each other. Is that correct? Yeah, so you'll meet each other before you'll meet me probably. So that's great. So you guys can like hoard together like for safety and then just like move as a herd through campus, and find the class. So then that shouldn't be a problem. Great. So yay. Wonderful. So 11 a.m. Please don't forget 11 a.m. California time. Okay. So come on out to class. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you all in person. If you have any super quick questions, you can just write them now. I can answer them. But otherwise, Hakuna Matata and have a good trip. Bye.